Hi guys, we're back. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. And we're here with the sweet little Mr. Silas. My little Pope. We're gonna change him. I love this outfit on him. It's absolutely adorable. So I had a really kind viewer that mentioned that, it seemed like I was having trouble changing him. She wondered if I was new to the Reborns and stuff. And I have to tell you, I'm new to him, of course. I've had him for a couple days. But his hands are very much like Niklaus's left hand. Very, very wide. And of course, I'm keenly aware of rubbing on the vinyl, because eventually the varnish will wear down and you get shiny spots, and then the doll needs maintenance. And, the fingernails are tipped and stuff, so I'm definitely careful with that. But I did want to mention, too, he has the 3/4 arms, which is jointed to turn this way, but not a lot of push out to the side. There's some. So I'm careful to not yank on the joint so I don't weaken the body. So if you see me struggle a little bit or take my time a little bit, that's definitely why. Not that I'm a master changer, but I want to send out a little bit of love to a friend of mine. I don't know if it'll be controversial or whatever, but a lot of you who follow my channel follow Annie from Annie Banani's Nursery. And this is not about what may have upset her or what may have happened to her. I know that, she mentioned in one of her videos and such that she, had some comments said to her. And there were a couple of situations, but that's neither here nor there. The end of the day, she was, I think, hurt and taken aback of anyone really being unkind or thinking poorly of her. And it is tough, you guys, because we're human beings and we have a picture of ourselves and who we are. And we just, especially if you're a kind person, a lot of times you just assume that people see you, and you're putting yourself out there anyway to be viewed by thousands of people that you don't know. And the first time something happens like that can be really rough, especially if you're a very open person, and a lot of what you do I'll just say her, because, not everybody's the same. A lot of what she does is sacrificing in order to make things possible for other people. And, acts of generosity and stuff like that. So when you're, I think it's not so much about being victimized, right? Because that's a personal journey to move past, being affected by other people's statements and that kind of thing. That's a whole other topic. I definitely believe there's personal culpability for us to manage how we let things affect us, for sure. But I just want to show a little bit of love and appreciation for Annie, because her feelings were really hurt. And I can tell you that whoever said that she's an insensitive person and whatever else was said that she mentioned in her box opening video of her most recent Claire Taylor baby, you know, maybe just doesn't know her, or maybe was just reacting. I don't know. I don't know that person. And but what I've observed is that she's very loving and trusting and busy. So she's generally moving at a very fast pace, and sometimes, you know, I think she just didn't really notice some of the things that go on here and wasn't really prepared for any negativity. Just it hasn't happened before. So she's a lovely person. She's a thoughtful person. And I just want to encourage her a little bit that there's a lot of people who see that. And, you know, you got to just know that girl in your own heart. And again, this isn't about what happened or judging what happened or any of that stuff. This is about just talking about how awesome you are, Annie. And you decide for you what you want. Because this is social media. And this is not your real life. And as far as her, you know, decision or in the moment decision to maybe take a break from YouTube, which happened, I do want to say that, you know, that happens too, guys. A lot of us think about leaving a lot. I've seen multiple collectors come on, channel creators, I should say, come on and tearfully talk about leaving and saying goodbye and, you know, really like believing that they're leaving the community because they're hurt about what's happening, or they don't want to continue with the craziness that is happening through some, you know, through people that are maybe don't like them and are aggressive about wanting them to leave. You know, I've seen in my short year and a half, I've seen at least 4 different channel creators get to that point where they're hurt and they say goodbye and then they come back. So I don't know, I kind of feel like we should try and see ourselves in other people sometimes. My husband, and he would not agree with me, is late to almost everything. He's late to almost everything, you guys. Like 15, 20 minutes to an hour late to things a lot of times. And he says he's not late, he's on his own perfect time. And because it's him, you know, he understands everything he's juggling and he understands that it's not on purpose. So he just kind of feels like, you know, people are okay with that. Some people don't like that their time isn't respected and so forth. But when somebody's late to one of his things, he takes it, sometimes it's frustrating or aggravating because it affects him, or you know, he'll mention it or point it out. And he feels like he's almost never late. And when he is, he feels like it's fine. But when other people are late, I'll just say he's offended by it. Maybe that's a strong word, but he notices, and sometimes he's aggravated by it. He doesn't see himself in it sometimes. I mean, of course, we're always growing and getting better. We've been together for 7 years, so some of the tendencies that I talk about or I see, you know, aren't necessarily the same that they were years ago. I think that there are things maybe that we do or create that we don't realize that we're doing, and then we're quick to see it in other people but not in ourselves. I'm not really sure how I got on this tangent, but one of the books that I've been writing in my head for a couple of years, that's one of the things that I talked about, was like it wasn't about being late, it was actually about bigger things. But, there are choices and things that I've done in my life that, I guess in retrospect are pretty crappy. And when I see other people make those choices or take those actions, I think that's crappy and there's no excuse to be that way. But if I think about where I was when I made those same choices and did those same actions, I have an internal understanding of where I was coming from, an internal picture of who I am at my core, which is a good person and maybe struggling, or I had reasons, and I know those reasons because I'm in my own head. But when I see somebody else do them, I'm like judging only the action, and maybe sometimes can't even see the same, that I've done exactly the same thing. But I think we're really, it's very easy to, I don't know if I want to say it's very easy. I think sometimes it takes a little effort to empathize. And by empathize, I mean like putting yourself in their shoes or seeing yourself in it, or trying to feel what they feel. I'm not sure how to define it exactly. Know that every single person walking around is just like you, in the sense that they have consciousness looking out of their own eyes. They have feelings, they have reasons, they have conditioning, they have all these other elements that to us they're just people over there walking around, and we are the center of our own world. Of course, we're the center of our own world. We can only feel our own feelings and thoughts and experiences, but every single person like over there is having that same experience. I don't know. I've had, to go back to my own relationship, I've had so many experiences over the 7 years that we've been together that felt unforgivable or inexcusable or just not right, that obviously in the end I was able to be compassionate for, to understand, and to I guess overcome. And it's only because, and I'm sure he could say the same for me, it's only because it's the weirdest thing. I can almost feel his feelings. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. It's only because I was able to see him as a person, like a full-on complex person, and try to understand and to choose love, of course, to choose love as an action, not as an emotion. I really have no idea what I'm saying. Look at this guy. Now let's see, how in the world did I get on that? I don't know. I feel like we're living in this social environment in a fishbowl. I feel like this is a very exposing thing. It is, to have a public channel and to put yourself out there and to record. It's like, imagine when you're doing a live on YouTube. Once you say something, it's said and it's out there. Of course, with the video, you can edit or fix, or correct whatever you said. But a lot of us are just moving at the speed of light and operating under the perspective of ourselves that we have, and don't know the myriad of different perspectives that other people have, and can be taken aback by the way that certain things are received or perceived or judged based on those other, pictures of life and agendas or whatever. I don't really know what everybody's purpose is in being here, but I don't know how I feel about YouTube for my life. I don't know. And this is why. Michael, who's outside of the whole situation of doll collecting, the social element of the community and all of that, he can see when I get pulled into things. He can see when I start getting mixed up, whether it be issues that are happening with people I have met in real life through this community or people that I only know virtually through this community. He can see when I'm affected and when I start allowing my personal self to be impacted and distracted. And he can size up the situation without knowing almost anything about it. And he's like, you got to step back. This has absolutely nothing to do with your real life. I mean, yes, in real life, we're making videos and chatting with people, but your family, your job, your house, your dogs, all that stuff, and all of the elements of your life that actually know who you are, interact with you, care about what happens to you, are outside of that little phone that you're chatting on. And it's in our nature to look through the crowd and find the one person who's not cheering for us, even though there might be 1,000 people around them that are. And it gets inside our head, and it makes us doubt ourselves. It affects our ego big time. I mean, that's really what it's all about, all of it. I mean, the part that feels awesome when everybody's cheering you on is obviously also ego. But he's like, if this is not happy for you, then shut it down. I mean, really. And if you're hurt by something that's happening to other people, or if you're concerned with two sides of a story and you're caring about both of them, he's like, that's a good lesson for them too in their own lives to grow stronger and more solid. And, I'm admittedly somebody who knows about a lot of different little things and hasn't, obviously spent my whole life studying the full-on history of everything. But, I was taught about the life of Nelson Mandela, who was unjustly thrown in prison for a very long time. And he is a symbol of, peace and love and humanity. And I really looked to that, the symbolism of that life experience, as something that I strive for, which is true freedom, right? True peace, true freedom. I have friends that took off to Hawaii and live off the land, and they don't have like quote unquote real jobs. They travel around festivals. They, do little side things. They denounce society. And one person, left his children for a time to go do it. And I envied it. I wanted that. I wanted to just do what I wanted to do every day, which I still do. I envied that. But then I saw them try to reintegrate. I saw that they didn't know where their next meal was coming from. I saw that they didn't have any money. And I saw that they were living in a bubble that didn't cause them or force them to learn how to operate around the full scope of what the life experience is with all different kinds of people. And when they tried to come back, it was like a big deal to get a bank account and a big deal to have a job. And it was like they started going through a lot of same things internally that I had managed years before. If you have relationships and every single time things start to go south, you leave. And if the reality is that successful relationships and love are choice and are work, and you're always going to move past the honeymoon phase, you'll never get to the point of experiencing the true commitment or the true deeper love, right? So the same thing, like to me in life with that situation with them, was who I wanted to be internally and the way I wanted to really feel internally. If I had tried to do that in a different scenario than running a business, dealing with raising children and the public school system and ex-spouses and custody and just the business of keeping mouths fed, building a future for other people and getting through the day, to try to find, what am I trying to say? To try to find true happiness in who I am and perspective and grasp on who I am in the big scheme of things, right? Inside of, on this planet, in this solar system, in this galaxy, in this universe, in this dualistic reality that is somehow of God and in God and all of that stuff, like the big picture. And who is it that's saying this and thinking this, like that kind of big picture reality. If I could find that while operating in the day-to-day mundane elements of an earthly life, that feeling for me is going to be way, way deeper than if I just opted out and never faced the challenges. Does that make sense? I have zero idea how that pertains to being on social media or not. Oh, yes, I do. I do. Things change, good and bad. If we get too attached to the positive response or the happy things that go on in a day, when that goes away, you crumble. And it always feels good when the bad things go away. But if you can find that good feeling that carries with it like an acute awareness that all things shall pass, all things, not just bad things, all things shall pass, and you work on yourself in the middle ground, then you can be less tossed around by outside circumstances. So I guess that's the lesson that I've been working on that he was talking about. If you picture yourself being in a little boat in the ocean that has swells, waves going up and down, and there's this gorgeous island that it's the promised land, or it's your goal that you're moving towards. When you're up on riding that wave, that upswing, and you can see it, you know where you're going, everything's clear, everything's balanced. When the bottom drops out, which is, life gets hard, circumstances happen, somebody badmouths you, somebody misjudges you, whatever it might be, you're down in the downswell, but there's another, and you can't see because there's another wave out in front of you. But that truth, which is the island, is still there. And you just got to wait to come back up, but you have to figure out how to have the knowing of that thing, whatever it is, still existing regardless of whether you can see it due to outside circumstances. Yeah. But anyway. So this is my question for myself. What is the purpose? Like, what would stop me from just stopping making videos? Like, why if I'm conflicted, why, if it's distracting to life, why, if I feel like it's constantly having me work to deal and not let things win and all of that. Like, is that a strong enough importance to be putting that much energy into when you already have to put that much energy into navigating life? And I don't know. Is it because I need the, is it that addictive center of the brain that's triggered by seeing the subscriber list go up? Because I don't make a single video because I want to make my subscriber list go up, but I check it and it feels good when it increases. Is it how many likes versus dislikes? I don't make videos so that I can get more likes, but I go and I look and I'm affected by that. So am I here because I'm addicted to getting that reflection back? I don't know. If I'm here to share my dolls, then I could go private and just the people who want to follow my channel can send me a request and we can see it that way. And I might do that. I really might. I'm considering it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, this little pipsqueak, he's so cute. He's definitely a family favorite. So we're enjoying him, trying to keep him out and near me so that I can get used to his face, and grew on me fast, definitely. All right, guys, I'm sure that most of you are gone by now because this is a long video that makes very little sense, but I'm quite forgiving and empathetic, and I think there may be one person that I've ever encountered, maybe it was two people together that I've ever encountered in this community that I feel are just purely malicious, and I do not like them, and I don't think they're around anymore, actually. Other than that, I really harbor no ill will towards anybody or have any kind of real, we'll say, bad judgment about anybody. So none of this really has to do with that. It's about the way that I handle it and the way that I let it affect my life and whether I find it to be a healthy thing for me. Yeah, look at that guy. I don't know if it is. All right, guys, we're out. Happy Sunday. Much love to you. Thanks for stopping in. And we'll be back soon. Bye for now.